Hey guys, this is here bringing you another video. Welcome back to Patch Note Breakdown. And oh boy, every time when I open one of these, I look to the right where obviously you can't see, but there's the scroll bar thing. And I judge how big the patch is depending how small the thing that you kind of move around is. This is a big patch. So buckle in, go get yourself, pause the video, go get a drink, go to the toilet, get some popcorn if you want, because it's probably going to be as long as a movie. So, what are we doing? So, nerfs. Yeah, there's a lot of cheeses. Nerfs 2, Bel'Veth, Brand, Evelyn, Maokai, Freak got Grandmaster in solo queue, so they're finally nerfing him. Nidalee, Senna, Twisted Fate, probably for AD carry or AD-ness. Vayne, because she's just, well, I even think I saw somewhere that writer said she's technically within their data parameters, not strong enough to nerf, but they're nerfing her due to her frustration level, which is good, by the way. Things that are frustrating, it doesn't matter if they're kind of OP or not, it's frustrating, and it's not fun to play against frustrating things. So that's nice that Riot's doing that. Yorick and Zac. Buffs to Jarvan, Kayn, Kog'Maw, Rek'Sai, Severe, Veigar, Vex, and Wukong, and then adjustments to Seraphine and Smolder. We're also getting system changes to Celestial Opposition, Dream Maker, Frozen Heart, Heartsteel, Rocket Belt, Lichbane, the Slay, Storm Surge, and Sunfire. And we're getting new skins project for Gangplank, Jax, and Nefari. Thing with Gangplank, I will say, getting a project skin, obviously as an ex-big Gangplank player, he has kind of these type of skins. Like, he has a couple tech-inspired skins. So that doesn't seem to be like something new. But anyway. Vanguard is the update. So yeah, Philippines was the chosen server. The reason why they're probably chosen Philippines, by the way, it will be one of their lowest population servers. They probably didn't want to go with the absolute lowest, potentially, because they do want data. And for those that are like, why would they start it in one region? Why not just kind of go absolutely ham and release it? The thing with these type of systems, obviously, they're quite powerful, these anti-cheats. And depending how they tune it, if they release it in a, let's say, too aggressive manner, it could just end up banning a lot of people that are just simply running something on their PC that's innocent. You know, it could detect OBS, you know, my streaming and recording software. It could detect that randomly as something a bit suspicious. So they have to make sure it gets released and it's detecting the right things. You know, OBS is fine, Discord is fine, scripting software, bad. So that's probably why they just want to kind of keep it as a defined test, because they'll probably be they'll have a lot of eyes on the Philippines when it happens, because if it does go a bit aggressive straight away, they can instantly, with just one region, they can tone it back a lot quicker. So, ranked split and 1 timing. So they're already going through when split 1 of the season is ending. Just reminding everybody, there is 3 splits this year, believe it or not. Again, of recording this, I don't want to give too much away, but obviously the Huzzy account has not been incredibly high rating for like a month or so. The MMR of that account is pretty rough. The benefit of having multiple splits is it does give you, if you are having a bit of a rough time, you've got bad LP gains, it is a time that you'll have a partial MMR reset. So when the split change happens, if you suddenly start doing good at the beginning of a next split, it can really help you get your LP gain situation back on track. So that is a good thing. But yeah, it's ending midnight, basically, or a second before midnight on May 14th. And then the new split starts on May 15th at midnight. But let's get into the changes. So considering how big this is, we'll go through the changes, but not probably in the insane most detail. But I'll obviously give my thoughts. So I play Bel'Veth a bit, but E damage reduction decreased, bug fix to passive that gave Bel'Veth too many stacks from epic void monsters. So that will tone down her strength. So the damage reduction is going down. I agree with this change. She is a damage dealer, doesn't build any real tank items. Having an up to 70% damage reduction for a pure damage dealer felt a little bit like it didn't fit. So it's still going to be strong, 55% damage reduction, but I think that is probably a good change. And yeah, this in itself will also be a nerf because she was getting too many stacks from epic monsters, where she shouldn't. So that will affect her attack speed a bit. Brand, passive damage to monsters increase, so returning his jungle buff, and then our damage decreased, cooldown increase. So The damage to monster multiplier is going up for jungle again. And then the ultimate, though, is being nerfed in terms of flat damage. And the cooldown of it is also going up. So they're just toning down his ultimate, because his ultimate is very powerful, but they're giving him a bit, better jungle clear again. So what I would say is they like Brand, and I think they like actually him in the jungle. So they don't want to be like, oh, he's not jungling anymore. Clearly Riot likes it. I actually quite like it. I think it's actually kind of cool to have just a mage. I know we've got Karthus and we've got Talia, but like something a bit different in the jungle I think is pretty cool. So that's fine. Evelynn. Obviously Evelynn has been historically one of the winners of season 2024. Obviously mages haven't been incredible, especially let's say in mid lane or in a few areas. But AP melee champions have been pretty damn good. Obviously when Storm Surge was OP, Evelynn was ridiculous, but there's a reason that Evelynn is practically banned in every single solo queue game. If I'm jungling, I ban Evelynn. And the funny thing is, I think most people have the exact same reason why they ban Evelynn. You feel that you're okay against an Evelynn until she gets too much damage. And how does she get too much damage? She gets fed because your teammates don't know how to play against an Evelynn. That's why I ban it. Because I don't trust my team to not let her snowball. What you got to do is put wards in places that she wouldn't expect. Having wards on camps is usually quite a good one, because then you can track her movement, because she can't be stealth when she's killing camps. And then you just play more passive. She's not that good if she doesn't snowball. She just snowballs all the time, So they are also just toning down how much she can snowball, especially with the Dark Seal / Magi lead. So her Q, which obviously is her main DPS at the beginning, is going down 5% ability power. Not crazy enough, but yeah. Jarvan. Armor growth increased and Q cooldown decreased. So just straight up buffs for Jarvan. So more armor and a lower cooldown on his Q. The thing with Jarvan is I like the champion, but there are, what dare I say, better versions of him in modern day League. Rek'Sai, I would, is pretty much a better version of Jarvan in quite a few ways. But he does have a certain thing about him. Like, he is quite fun to play in his more, as a more basic, older school champion. He is pretty cool. And obviously, just reminding everyone, there is that conspiracy that Jarvan the Fourth, in a bit of lore, is not really Jarvan. If you look right now, look at his eyes. His eyes are different colors. The idea is it's kind of giving away that he is not Jarvan. And it's actually LeBlanc pretending to be Jarvan. Pretty cool lore thing. It's obviously kind of a pointless lore thing because you're playing as Jarvan, but I think it's pretty cool anyway. Kayn. Passive Darken Healing increased and R Darken Healing increased. So this is for Red Kayn when the Darken inside him takes over. The problem with this, and I did see people discussing it, and what they're trying to do is, your healing is staying the same, but you get more the bonus health you have. So obviously if you do a Red Kayn build, a Bruiser build, it's a lot of bonus health, therefore you're getting more healing. But then the R, which again is for the Darken red form, you're going to be healing for 75% of the damage dealt. We already know Purple Kayn exists, and Purple Kayn is either going Red Kayn with lethality items, or it's going Blue Kayn with like bruiser items. Both of those kind of things exist. This to me is just going to make people go Red Kayn, which has better CC, better healing, but just go lethality. So his damage is still crazy. He's still benefiting from a lot of healing. Yes, you're not going to get the healing from the passive, but you're going to get it from your ultimate. So I kind of see it just becoming Red Kayn lethality now, which admittedly is not as annoying as Blue Kayn, but yeah. Cogmore, passive bonus movement speed increased, Q cast time adjusted, E slow increase, and R damage increase. Are they buffing AP Cogmore? They might be. Maybe. So movement speed is going up from his passive. So when he is going in like bomb form, presumably, this is to speed him up to hit people easier. The Q it used to be a 0.25 cast time, but then it's now matches Cogmore's auto attack frame. Okay, cool. His E is going up 10% in each rank for slows. That's nice, especially in modern day where it's hard to survive as an AD carry. And the ultimate is not being buffed for AP, but it's getting a better AD ratio. Okay. I can kind of see why they're buffing Cogmore, by the way. The reason why, I'd actually say, is Smolder. You're like, what? So Smolder has become pretty much the hyper carry of AD carries. Like, he's a god when he gets the 225 stacks. And the original hyper carry AD carry is Cogmore. And I think Riot might be like, hey guys, the original one you can also play. And maybe, you know, a lot of people complaining about Smolder's late game. Remember, there's this Cogmore thing that may be able to match a Smolder in late game. He exists too. So that might be what they're doing. So we'll see. MAOKAI. So again, I know I said it as a joke at the beginning, but the conspiracy does have a bit of legs. That Freak has been basically one-tricking MAOKAI support for the last few months. And MAOKAI has had some nerfs that haven't really been nerfs. And Freak has continuously played MAOKAI, and he just hit Grandmaster. He did joke, he is probably, you know, he's embracing the meme that MAOKAI is not being properly nerfed because of him. That when he got Grandmaster, he tweeted after his break from social media saying, you know, his screenshot of getting Grandmaster and him saying MAOKAI nerfs cancelled. So he's leaning into it, but I do truly think it's got legs. And for those that are like, really, a little bit. The reason why I say that is basically one of the biggest complaints within the League of Legends community in the last couple of years is, what the hell are Riot doing? The decisions are weird. They must not play the game, right? That has been a very common thing that the community has been saying. So what I think Freak has tried to do is he's trying to get to a very good rank. And again, it's a great achievement hitting Master or even Grandmaster, even one-tricking an OP pick. Most people, you know, 99.9999% of people wouldn't be able to do that anyway. So it's a good achievement. But what he's trying to do is basically giving himself, you know, a shiny medal and saying, look, I've achieved this. You now have to listen to me because I've achieved this. It makes sense to listen to me now. Here, I think the average player may see it and go, oh God, yeah, fair enough. But when you're talking about the balance of pro play, or you're talking the balance of like the really high tiers, you know, the Apex tiers, which is Master, Grandmaster, Challenger, I don't think he'll be gaining much traction from those type of players, really. Because again, to those type of players who, let's say, hit those ranks very easily, to them, getting Grandmaster on one-tricking the most powerful support for the last few months isn't impressive. And they're just going, oh yeah, he just did it playing MAOKAI. Yes, it's impressive to the vast majority of the player base, but it's not impressive, arguably, to the group of players that Freak needs on his side the most, which are the most vocal players, which are either pro players or very high rating streamers and stuff like that, because those are the vocal pieces of the community, right? So we'll see. So movement speed is going down for MAOKAI. The bonus damage to monsters, which is irrelevant to him, support strength, so that's irrelevant in this nerf because nobody's jungling on MAOKAI, it's support. And then the W, the cooldown is going down only 1 second. So again, I'm not a big person when it comes to overall win rate. I'm not. Because, like, overall League is not a 1v1 game. It's a 5v5 game. So a champion's individual win rate doesn't mean that much because it's a 5v5 game. However, if a champion is consistently having about a 55% win rate in the last 2-3 months, yeah, it's OP. This nerf is not going to change that much at all. Like, genuinely, it's not going to change it. This is hardly a nerf. Like, MAOKAI's movement speed, yeah, that'll impact him a bit, but what that'll mainly make MAOKAI's do is already MAOKAI's are either choosing between the armor boot, Mert treads, or Swifties. This will just make more MAOKAI's go boots or Swifties, so they can engage, because the movement speed. And then the W, a 1 second nerf, yeah, I mean, most of the time in a fight, you're only going to W once. For a really long fight, you might W twice. But again, that's not really going to impact it. So, arguably, this isn't really a nerf. Freak will likely still one-trick MAOKAI and climb. Nidalee, a very rare champion to see. She, in essence, is a one-trick champion, specialist champion, which, again, I'm fine with those champions existing. I think it is cool that some champions actually require a lot more synergy with yourself to play it at a good level. And Nidalee is definitely one of those. So Nidley is in a pretty stable place right now, but that's only if you look at Emerald and below. In High Diamond and above, she's an Apex Predator levels of powerful. She's a very good snowballing jungler, akin to, you know, Evelyn levels. So she's actually getting nerfed. You don't see many. Yeah, wow. So yeah, her move speed's going down, which does affect an Italy, because again, it's all about move speed. And bonus damage to hunted targets is also going down. I presume a hunted target is when she gets the proc on either hitting a spear or landing a trap. Presumably that's what that is. But yeah, wow. Rek'Sai, various quality of life updates and bug fixes, E damage and monster cap increased and R damage increased. Okay, so again, they have tried to move Rek'Sai away from being lethality to back to being bruiser. So they're just doing quite a lot here. I'm not going to go through all of that, but yeah, they're in essence trying probably to just make her a bit healthier, because she's been very strong as lethality for a while, and they changed her to be bruiser, but there were some teething issues with that. For example, like her Q was uncancelable, but it was also like people could just flash it or something. Like it was actually quite a big bad situation for Rek'Sai. So they're just kind of fixing it as much as they can. So there's that. Bug fixes pretty much most of it. Senna, again, another crazy strong champion for a while. Can both play AD carry and support. Admittingly, I tend just to get, if I get an AD carry Senna, they just do terribly. Support Sennas generally do well. But they're toning down her Q, 10% AD ratio. There's that. Seraphine. So all abilities adjusted. So the vast majority of Seraphine's player base is in support, where she's currently critically weak. So basically, Riot a while ago, they wanted to see where the community wanted her. And in essence, they are embracing now that she's actually a support. I think. So like, yeah, the 300% minion damage modifier has been removed. So they were giving her better clear to try and make her a carry, when the whole community's like, no, she's a support. So this is what I've been saying for a while, that a lot of people who still play carry Seraphine, it's not great because she is a support, and it's a weird champion that she's been in like the middle ground of a carry and support. But with this change, Riot are basically going, no, she's a support. So she no longer gets increased minion damage modifier, so her wave clear is going to be worse and all that stuff. What you'll likely see, again, like here, you're seeing buffed base damage, because that's what a support does, is she does higher base damage, less scaling. So again, damage amp no longer affects non-champions, no longer prevents minions from dying to other minions when in a fight. The movement speed is being reduced. The shield, however, is going up because that's more supporty. The mana cost is going down because less probably carry items and all that. Minion damage, again, going down. So if you try to play Seraphine as a carry, it's going to be even worse than it's already been. So genuinely, she is a support moving forward. Again, her ultimate is going down a 20% AP ratio, and the cooldown is going up. So yeah, her slow duration though is going up eventually on her E, which again is more of a support feature. So yeah, some people won't like it. Like if you're a mid lane or an AD carry main Seraphine, you probably won't like it clearly, but that's the way of it. And the thing is, the vast majority of the player base has just, she is a support. You know, she is kind of Sono 2.0. There's nothing you could say wrong with that. But now Riot are making it kind of official. So they are, in essence, putting her in a role. Severe base armor increased. Yeah, not enough. I had a Severe earlier today. I can't remember if that video is being uploaded. But the thing with Severe, she literally does 0 damage until she does 1 billion damage. And when she does 1 billion damage, 6 items. She needs basically 6 items to do any damage. Before that point, she is awful. Giving her full extra armor is not going to help at all. Smolder. So again, pretty cool champion. I think he's actually on the very strong side of balance. The problem with him is people are still learning how to play him, and people are mucking up quite a lot. People are playing a bit too aggressive in the early game than they probably should and all that stuff. So the Q, 3rd upgrade bonus true damage. So this is obviously at 225 stacks when he becomes literal god. So it used to do 6.5% of target's maximum health as true damage. It's now 2% bonus AD, and then a 1% AP ratio, and then 0.8% of Dragon's Patient stacks of target's maximum health. So the longer the game goes, at 225 stacks, this unlocks. You can get to 400 stacks. You can literally get to 400 stacks of his passive. This will impact that. The E, number of bolts was 5 to 10 based on crit strike chance. It's now 5, but then +1 per every Dragon Patient stack. So again, that's even better in absolute late game when, if you get to 400 stacks, that's crazy. The R, Mum, the base damage is going down. And that's that. And then the sweet spot damage, which obviously is right in the middle, they're rewarding that more, that it's actually going to do 20% more damage. The self-heal, that obviously if the fire hits him, which a lot of people do not make use of at all, that also is being nerfed. So people don't use it a lot, but it's probably quite strong when the base of it's going down, but he's getting actually an AD ratio with it. So eventually it'll be better. Interesting. And then frame data on basic attacks has been adjusted. So the one thing I will say, when these were kind of mentioned, there is a chance that Smolder might build a bunch more AP items, because 1% AP is actually quite a powerful ratio for this type of ability, that if you bought 3 or 4 ability power items, it could be quite strong. Some people, you already see a few Smolder mid lanes. Smolder mid is actually incredibly good against most mages, because mages are too weak to punish it. Where if you're playing Smolder bot lane, and you're against a Draven or something very powerful early, or Samira, he has a really hard time because he can get punished. The average mage in League of Legends cannot punish him at all. They can't punish basically anything. And if they do, Smolder's E, he can just run away. So mid lane is actually growing in popularity for Smolder. Twisted Fate. So again, this champion. So bonus attack speed for his E is going down. Eventually 10% at max rank. And then the bonus damage was, and here's the crazy thing of how much they've had to nerf this, because again, it has been insane damage. It was a 75% bonus AD ratio. It's going to 20%. That is one of the biggest nerfs I've ever seen in an individual nerf that I think I've literally ever seen in the 10 years plus of doing patch notes previews. That's an insane nerf. That should have happened last patch. Even though AD has been overpowered, last patch they nerfed ability power. What? Very weird, but yeah. So that's good. Vayne. So again, these are the type of thing that, again, technically she is not strong enough in Riot's own parameters to get nerfed, but they're nerfing it because she's annoying. So the Vayne changes from 13/6 did a lot to giving her a fighter chance in early trades in lane, but at this point it's become clear that Vayne is just far too strong, especially as a top laner. We'd like to preserve Tumble as a satisfying button to press in the early game, as it gives her a fighting chance against other ranged champions, but don't want her choking out and running down her melee competition in top lane. So bonus movement speed is going down, reminding that bonus movement speed is only when she's running to enemy champions. It's not just movement speed, but that is better. It's a nerf that she's not as quick running people down. But when she's in ultimate, it's still 90, which is double that original amount. And then Tumble, which again gives her all that, utility in lane phase of mobility against melee champs, was a 4 seconds to a 2 seconds. It's now a 6 second to a 2 seconds. So toning down the early game significantly, that hopefully will make her less obnoxious against top laners. So that's good. Veigar. Q damage increase and R cooldown decrease. I obviously love this champion. I've had some really good performances with him, so who knows? Maybe I'll have to have a look if these are good. So the damage of his Q is staying the same base, but it's an ability power ratio. 5% ability power each rank, which again, reminding everyone, Veigar is one of the mage type of champions that gets 1,000 ability power quite easily. So that's significant. And then the ultimate is going down a 20 seconds at rank 1, 10 seconds at rank 2, and it's staying at 60 at rank 3. That's nice, because again, he does struggle obviously in the early game. Naturally, he's a late game hyper carry, but that just will help him a little bit to be more relevant earlier into the game. So I like that. That's good. Vex. Passive damage increased, E and passive interaction adjusted. Okay. So Vex doesn't have the damage she needs to chain together multi-kills. Yeah, her burst isn't as good. Because it's the weird thing, right? We in the next few days, I'll be releasing a dev update video that I recorded earlier. I'm going to maybe release it tomorrow or the next day's second video. And they already are mentioning that they're going to tone down burst. But then they're saying here, Vex doesn't do the damage for chains. It's weird that some burst champions do not do damage right now. And then some champions that shouldn't do burst do a lot. It's weird. But yeah, so her passive, the detonation, obviously when you get either your spells have the passive proc, or if people use mobility and it kind of gets the thing over their head. The base damage of it is going up, and then the ability power ratio is also going up. So that's nice. And then the E, killing units with looming darkness now grants doom and gloom passive refund. Ooh, that's quite nice. So the thing with Vex that really sucks, as someone that's played a decent amount of Vex, in lane phase, half the time it doesn't feel like you want to use your abilities, because the moment that you don't have your passive, as I was saying, the moment that you're in lane and you've got the fear thing ready to go, if you use that for wave clear, you're then open to being engaged on. So the fact that now your E, which obviously is a good AoE tool for wave clearing, is going to refund your passive, which is part of the doom and gloom, but also the fear, that's probably a nice change. That helps her wave clear, but then also helps her not being as vulnerable when she doesn't have a passive up, so that's good. Wukong. Passive maximum stack decreased, percent amplification per stack increased, stack fall off rate adjusted. So Wukong isn't performing as well in top lane. Current state has him too late game skewed, so we're making some changes to his passive to make him a bit more powerful early game. So there we go. So they're just making him a bit more relevant in early game. But yeah, Wukong's late game is very, very good. If he gets the 5-6 items, he's very powerful and can take over team fights. But you can't get there half the time because he just gets destroyed in lane. Yorick. So again, what we've said about Vayne kind of also goes in line with Yorick. That even though, you know, the data of Yorick may not be nerfable in Riot's parameters of what's OP, but it's very frustrating to play against Yorick. So it's the combination of Maiden is too strong, because Maiden basically has the strength of a champion as Maiden, but then Yorick building lethality items is giving him way too much damage, because the champion, in essence, is not supposed to buy lethality. So we'll see what they do. So passive, Shepherd of Souls, so tooltip clarified to state that only Mistwalkers take reduced damage from monsters. His E, cursed bonus damage of 8 attacks is 30% to 20%, so that is a 33% nerf. And then his Maiden, the armor of it is, so he goes 10 to 50 based on level. It's going to 30 to 90 based on level, so it's getting bonus resistances, but Maiden no longer reduces area effect damage by 50%, so that's quite good. Tooltip now clarifies Maiden takes 70% less damage from lane minions. The bug fix, so Maiden's 1, 2, 3% maximum health damage no longer bypasses evasion like Shen's W. Blind, dodge, and evasion all work appropriately. So you could be laning against a Yorick and you're like, you know, you're playing Shen, you're in W, you shouldn't be hitting me, and it was still hitting him. So not the big nerfs I was expecting. I'm sure, like, let's say this is maybe a bigger nerf than I'm even thinking it is, but was maybe expecting a bit more nerfs than that. Zac. W damage increased. Yeah, gaining popularity in top lane is Zac. Very high damage for how tanky he is. But the damage is going down. So it's again, I saw it's going up. It's going up at rank 1, but then leveling out at rank 2, and then it's nerfs from rank 3 onwards. But the Zac top lane maxes W first. So it's a tone down to that. Items, Celestial Opposition, the cooldown's going down, the slow duration is going up, and the slow strength is going up. So they're nerfing the Slay and making the opposition a bit more powerful. Dreammaker, I don't know if I've literally seen anybody buy this item. Blue bubble damage reduction, so it's being, instead of being a flattened thing, it's weaker in the early, but then more powerful in late. And then the purple bubble damage, kind of the same thing. So there's that. Frozen Heart, again, I'm happy this is getting nerfed because it's become a staple second, maybe even third item on some champions because it's pretty damn strong and it's too cheap. So they're increasing it by 100 gold, and they're also reducing the armor. But it's still going to be effective. The attack speed slow is very powerful. But hopefully that will just tone down some people. Maybe instead of an Ezreal buying its second item, maybe he'll buy it third. Or I've even seen Aziz buy Frozen Heart second or third. It's a bit nuts, but yeah. Heartsteel. So Heartsteel currently isn't worth purchasing on many champions, even those with respectable health ratios or easy access to gameplay pattern. This item is built to support, so like Mundo or Scion, for example. So proc damage went from 100 to 80, but it's doing more in your bonus from bonus health from items. So it's eventually better in absolute mid to late game. And then the Ornn upgrade is also getting that as well. So it will be a much bigger amount of damage eventually. The Slay, again, this is just the default item that everybody builds. It's like the purpley damage support item as well. Everyone just does that. It's those two. So the cooldown's going up. Again, 33% nerf. Bonus health, it used to do 7% of your max health. It's now flattened, so that's a big nerf. The bonus movement speed has also gone down. So yeah, that's a pretty big nerf. So they are buffing, obviously, that option and really nerfing Slay. Hell, they might have over-nerfed Slay just to make people aware that this exists, and they might eventually buff the Slay up a little bit again. The Spirit Shojin. So our goal with Spirit Shojin changes to make it synergize better with champions that should be primary users of the item. So these should help move it. So spells now only grant one stack per cast, up to one per second for spells that deal damage over time. Okay. Attacks based spells now add a stack and get their damage improved by the spell that amp. And damage from champion passives should no longer grant stacks for focused will. Okay, so yeah, Riven would be better technically with this, right? Hecarim would be better technically with this. I don't know who they're making it not better for. I don't know who is in their mind. Maybe it could be Smolder. Smolder by a Spirit Shojin. That might be why. Yeah. Because I guess with Smolder, if he was doing the AoE damage, it might have been giving him more than one stack per cast, but now it's limited to one stack per cast. Yeah, and then Smolder's champion passive might not be proccing it. So, yeah, it's probably Smolder. Sunfire, the health is going up, and the base damage is going up, so a buff to Sunfire, okay? AP Assassin items, yeah, one of the winners easily of the year. Again, mages unfortunately have not done that well, but compared to AP Assassins and Lethality, has to be said that mages are nowhere near as good. But the funny thing is, a lot of mages you're actually seeing now are starting to buy AP Assassin items because they are stronger than mage items. So this also is going to affect the mages, especially if they don't get compensation buffs to their mage items. So the Spellblade damage is going down by 5% AP ratio. Storm Surge, movement speed is going up, but they over-nerfed Storm Surge, obviously, because it was crazy at the beginning of the year. Rocket Belt, they're making more expensive, but they are also giving it more ability power. Okay, so that's hardly these... What's the point of having a whole category of AP Assassin items and just doing 3 things, and 2 of the things are kind of buffs? Yes, it's 100 more gold, but you're getting 10 ability power more. That's pretty good for cost effectiveness, you know? Weird. ARAM changes, bug fixes. I've always said you should... If at the very least, if all you do with patch notes is you watch my video, cool. The one thing you should do yourself is open the patch note and Control F and see if a champion you play is in the bug fixes, and that is always a good thing just to note. But yeah, and then yeah, we got the 3 new skins, and that is that. So we actually went through this a lot quicker than I thought, to be honest. I thought this was going to be an hour long, but the changes actually were pretty basic. There wasn't anything absolutely insane, to be honest. But there we go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I will be getting this edited and uploaded for tonight's second video. So if you appreciate that, throw a like on it. Let me know what you think of the patch notes. Do you think anything is missing in buffs or nerfs? But yeah, that's going to be it. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.
Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to eternal